My name is Paul Lucas. I've got a secret. Do you think you can guess what it is?
Arid Green Deodorant, the deodorant that is 53% more effective in keeping underarms dry and odorless, presents I've Got a Secret. And pinch hitting for Garry Moore, the star of his own Thursday night television show on CBS, Steve Allen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. Welcome to I've Got a Secret, in which we bring you the awful truth about some very nice people, but of course it's all just for fun. Tonight we have some information about the private lives of some interesting people, which they are going to try to keep secret from our panel of nosy Parkers. And now I'd like you to meet our panel. First of all, a young man who's MC of his own quiz show, winner take all, Mr. Bill Cullen. The lovely motion picture and television actress, Miss Jane Meadows. Britain's unofficial ambassador of befuddlement, Mr. Melville Cooper. And the author of the Academy Award-winning Gentleman's Agreement, Mrs. Laura Z. Hobson. And that is the I've Got a Secret panel. In just a moment now, I'm going to introduce you to a lovely lady with tonight's first. And now we're ready to play I've Got a Secret. Panel, you all set to play? I guess so, or you wouldn't be here tonight. All right, we'll now meet our first contestant with a secret. Evening. Would you tell us your name, please, and where you're from?
I'm from Washington, D.C., and my name is Mrs. Victor Cahill.
It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Cahill. Panel, it's going to be up to you to uncover Mrs. Cahill's secret. Now, here's the way we play the game. Each panelist will get 2 questioning periods of 15 seconds each, but the clock will only time the actual questions. When a panelist's time is up, he'll hear this sound, and I'll pay our guest $10 and turn the game over to the next questioner. Twice around the panel for a total loss of $80, and the game will be over. Now then, Mrs. Cahill, if you'll whisper your secret to me, we'll reveal it at the same time to the viewers at home. Mm-hmm. All right. To help classify the secret, panel, it begins with the word I, and it is something that Mrs. Cahill was. Now, we'll start our questioning with Melville Cooper.
Oh. Mrs. Cahill, this something that you wear. Were you this something some time ago?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Well, could you be it again?
No.
Could anybody else be?
Yes.
Could I be?
No.
Could only a woman be it?
Yes.
There we go.
Very good line of questioning, Mr. Cooper. $10 so far to Mrs. Cahill. $70 remains. Mrs. Hobson.
Were any other people involved with you in your secret?
They were, but it's not mentioned in the secret.
Was this secret done outdoors, the thing you were? Were you outdoors most of the time when you did it?
I would say yes, about like that.
About like that. Oh, did you do it more than once? Was it something you did only once?
Yes.
Oh, was it something you won, a kind of award or a prize or something that you won?
Total of $20 now, Mrs. Cahill. We turn now to Mr. Cullen.
This prize that you won, did a title possibly go with it?
Yes.
Was the title national in its importance?
Yes.
Was it American?
Yes.
Were you possibly at one time Miss America?
Yes.
You just about got it, Mr. Cullen. You want to finalize it?
You mean what year?
Well, in a sense.
Would it help me to know what year?
Yes. You don't have to give us a date.
Oh.
You just about got it.
About, thank you a lot. I needed that help.
Another $10 got in under the wire. Perhaps Miss Meadows will...
Mrs. Cahill, do I want how many years ago you were Miss America?
I think that's what they don't want.
No.
That's what you don't want.
You don't have to give us the
No.
date.
Well, now, what would I want? You were only Miss America once.
Yes.
But she was a very special Miss America.
You were very special. Were you the first Miss
Yes.
America?
Correct, Miss Meadows. Congratulations, Miss Meadows, and thanks very much to you, Mrs. Cahill, and from the makers of Arid, thanks for playing I've Got a Secret. Thank you. Panel, you're off to a flying start. And now we'll get right along to our next contestant with a secret, and here he is. Good evening, sir. Could you tell us your name, sir, and where you're from? What? Mr. Ellenberg. I say, what's your hometown, Mr. Ellenberg?
Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Fine. A little thirsty? Want some water?
No, thanks.
Make yourself at home. Just lean right up on the bar there and put your foot on the rail and come on. But you have a secret for our panel to uncover. And the panel, of course, remembers how we play. We go twice around the panel, and if they don't get it by then, the game is over. Mr. Ellenberg, will you remind me now of your secret? At the same time, we'll reveal it to our viewing audience at home. Well, you see, there's a clue already. That's the way it goes. Panel, to help you further to classify this secret, it begins with the word I, and it's something that Mr. Ellenberg is doing. And we'll start the cross-examination off this time with Bill Cullen.
Mr. Ellenberg, this thing that you're doing, have you ever done it before?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you done it perhaps more than once before, Mr. Ellenberg?
I believe so.
Would you classify this as a regular habit of yours?
No.
Do you do this thing that you're doing now primarily by using your mind? I mean, as a mental thing.
Not primarily, but it's a very important consideration.
Would you say that this was then not a form of livelihood as much as a form of recreation or something like that?
I don't believe that requires a yes or no answer. Perhaps yes. In all honesty, I believe yes. It's a frank and truthful.
What were they laughing at there? Don't count that as a question. Do you engage in this, what Steve said is primarily a form of recreation? Do you engage in it alone?
No, by no means.
Do you do it then as part of a sizable team? I mean, a group of...
A good line of questioning, Mr. Cullen. $10 so far in cash to Mr. Ellenberg. $70 for the panel to work on. Miss Meadows.
Mr. Ellenberg, I gather that you do this with one other human being?
Yes.
Just one other human being. Is this human being of the same sex?
No.
No. The opposite sex. Is this human being that you do this with well known?
To Mr. Ellenberg, yes.
Is this human being a member of your family?
No.
Well, Well...
Is it a blood relation?
Not a blood relation, no.
Is it your wife?
Yes.
It is your wife. It's something that you do with your wife. You're doing it now.
$10 more dollars to you, Mr. Ellenberg. $60 to go. Mr. Cooper.
I don't quite know what to say. This thing you do with your wife,
It isn't so much,
a thing, no.
No. It's more a state of being, Mr. Cooper.
State of being,
A
yeah.
condition, more or less.
Well, a condition of being happily married for a number of years, Mr. Ellenberg? Is it something like that?
Something like that, but that
Something
isn't
like
it.
that, yeah.
Could be.
Well,
It's getting a little bit warm, Mr. Cooper, but we now have $30 over here, and Mr. Ellenberg's jackpot, $50 to go. Mrs. Hobson.
Mr. Ellenberg, does the secret primarily involve your wife rather than you?
No, primarily it involves him. It begins with the word I.
Oh, it begins with the word I, of course. Is this something that's going to happen? In spite of the fact that you say you're doing it now, is it something you're planning on?
Well, you said it seldom happens to any of us, but it is happening to him now. He's undergoing an experience now.
Would it help me at all to find out more about your wife? To find out your secret? If I knew more about her, would I be able to, for instance, her age? Is she about the same age as you are?
Mr. Hillenberg says it wouldn't be a secret. I don't think that has too much to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it. Mr. Ellenberg, is this something that you're doing now? Do you do it outdoors?
pleasure, Mrs. Hobson. Another $10 to Mr. Ellenberg. $40 remains. That doesn't really matter. That's the answer to that. Mr. Cullen.
We found out that you had done this before, and you're doing it now. Is there a possibility that in the near future you might possibly do it again?
I hardly think so.
Mr. Ellenberg hardly thinks so.
Is this the kind of thing that you say you're doing this in relation with your wife? I mean, with your wife. Is this the kind of a thing that only you and Mrs. Ellenberg could do? I mean, for instance, your brother or someone like that couldn't.
Only Mr. and Mrs. Ellenberg could be involved.
Does this thing happen to many people, Mr. Ellenberg?
Oh, no.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then they...
Another $10, Mr. Ellenberg. The panel only has $30 to work on. Miss Meadows.
Mr. Ellenberg, if you don't do this out of doors, would it help me to know the place that you do this thing?
No, as I say, it's more a state of being, rather.
State of being. Then the time wouldn't help when you do it. The time help if I knew what time
Not
of
the
day.
time of day. It has nothing to do with it.
But it is a pleasant thing that you do.
It's a pleasant thing that he is.
A pleasant thing that he is. Something that he's doing with his wife is pleasant.
The stack is mounting, Mr. Ellenberg. $10 more. The panel only has $20 left. Mr. Cooper, can you save any of it?
Well, I've only got one theory about all this, you know. I think you are going to be a father. It's something to...
No.
No,
No, that is not the secret.
I was wrong. It's a state of being with your wife. Well, I mean, so obvious. The thing is, of course, it must naturally mean that, well, I mean, I don't...
I'm very sorry. Our time is up on this one. Mrs. Hobson, sorry to cut you off, but the time is up. It doesn't appear that you were going to get it. Mr. Ellenberg, would you like to tell them your secret? No, don't leave. Unless you want to go home and wire it to us. You can... No, Mr. Ellenberg is on his honeymoon. Yes. I'd like you to meet the charming bride, Mrs. Ellenberg. Here she is. They're real sweet. And incidentally, Mrs. Ellenberg is 83 years young, and she's very happy, and she's a wonderful lady. I'd like to thank them both, the makers of Arid, for playing I've Got a Secret. Now we're going to hurry right along. It's time now to have our panel go to work on our special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the heartthrob of ladies on more continents than you can count, Mr. Paul Lucas. Here he is. Paul, we'll have our panel start digging for your secret in just... All right, panel, let's see how quickly now you can expose Mr. Lucas's secret. We'll play the game as before, except that the money in this instance will go to Mr. Lucas's favorite charity. Paul, your secret, please. You whisper it to me while the folks at home are informed visually. All right. I want to warn you, panel, this is a very, very tricky one. It begins with the word I, and it is something that Mr. Lucas intends to do. We'll start the cross-examination, I think, with Laura Hobson.
Mr. Lucas, a tricky one, huh? Have you ever done this before, Mr. Lucas?
Beg your pardon?
Have you ever done this before, this tricky secret?
No.
Has anybody else ever done it?
I think so. I hope so.
Is it something that you're looking forward to doing? Are you eager to do it? Are you looking forward to doing it?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh,
For a long time.
oh, it isn't going to be painful in any way, then.
Remains to be seen.
Mr. Lucas, I'm a little embarrassed to ask this, but do you expect to be paid for this?
Well, no, but No, later. No.
No, but no.
No.
Well, is it, are you going to do it for charity then?
No.
Oh, these laughs are killing me.
No charity.
Are you, is it something that you're going to need some special amount of courage or bravery to do?
Well,
I don't think so, no. However, we now have $10 for Mr. Lucas's favorite charity, $70 for the panel to try to protect. Mr. Cullen.
Well, Steve, we determined he wasn't going to get paid for it, and it wasn't charity, and there was no bravery. So I wonder, is there any, Mr. Lucas, is there any tangible benefits you might receive from this at all?
tangible benefit. Yes, I think so.
In a sense.
In a sense, yes.
Well, that's good, because up to now it sounded like it was going to be a dull thing, whatever it was you were doing.
No, to the contrary.
Are you going to do this thing within the next 24 hours?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Are you going to do it tonight, Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Is it possible that you're going to do it before midnight, for instance, tonight?
Yes.
Is it the kind of thing you must do before you go to bed?
No.
You're going to do it after you go to bed?
No, in this case, it's, yes, or whatever you said there. I don't know.
Great answer.
Before. $20. What do we have here? I've lost track all of a sudden. $20 to Mr. Lucas's favorite charity, Miss Meadows.
Mr. Lucas, this thing that you're going to do, will it involve another person or will you do it alone? Will it involve another person?
Will involve another person.
It will
yes.
involve another person.
Yes, but then we'll do it alone.
You can do it.
But I am going to do it alone.
You're going to do it
Yes, but
alone.
it involves another person.
While you're doing it, it involves another person.
Yes.
Is this person of the opposite sex?
Yes. Yes.
Is this person somebody we might know?
I think so.
A famous person?
I'm afraid so.
Is this woman in the entertainment field?
No.
Not primarily.
Not primarily.
No.
She's not known for that.
That's right.
No, not entertainment.
A good line of questioning, Miss Meadows. We now have $30 to Mr. Lucas's favorite charity, $50 to go. Mr. Cooper?
This person, you say famous or infamous?
Famous.
Famous person. Of the opposite sex?
Yes, yes.
And not in the entertainment world?
No.
Famous?
No, not in a...
Well, I mean, not in the...
What do you mean entertainment?
Well, show business.
Show business?
Primarily, she's not famous for her show business
Oh,
endeavors.
but she is in show business.
Yes.
But not... well, is she a star in show business? What is known as a star?
Not strictly speaking,
No.
Another $10 to your favorite charity, Mr. Lucas. We turn the questions now to Mrs. Hobson.
Mr. Lucas, this girl that isn't primarily famous in show business, is she primarily famous because her father is famous?
Father?
No. You wouldn't be going to do anything with Margaret Truman. Going to telephone Margaret Truman. Right? Well, you know, you said primarily, so I took a clue where I could pick one up.
No.
That's
an idea.
It is an idea. I don't know Margaret Truman. Are we interested in finding out who this girl is, her name? Is it mentioned in the
I
secret?
think so.
Oh, yes, it's in the
yes,
secret.
Yes,
Quite
it's in my
definitely.
secret.
Oh, I'm very sorry, folks, but the time is up on that one. You came very close. As a matter of fact, at this moment, we're going to tell the panel our secret, and then Mr. Lucas is going to do it.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to do it.
His secret is, quote, I'm going to kiss Laura Hobson.
Let's all stand up and applaud.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Thanks for the makers of Arid for playing I've Got a Secret. And your favorite charity is $40 the richer for your participation in our game. And now may we have the next contestant with a secret, please. We won't give this gentleman's name because it might very well help you, panel, with his secret. He's a gentleman famous for something. Now, sir, will you remind me of your secret? Whisper it in my ear while we let the folks at home know just what it is. All right, panel, to help you... To help you classify this secret, it starts with an I, the word I, and it is something that he did. We'll start the questioning off this time with Jane Meadows.
Did you do this more than once?
No.
No. This thing that you did it bring you fame? Did
Yes.
it bring him fame? It brought him fame?
Yes.
I would have read about this thing in the newspapers, would I?
Not what you might call, not the fame he deserved, but fame of a
I
very
see.
definite sort.
This thing that you did it involve another human being or more than one human being?
Yes.
It did?
Yes.
Is it one human being?
That's a fairly misleading line of questioning. It won't do you any good,
won't do me any good
to hear a
now.
yes on that.
Would it help me to know at what period in your life, what age you were when you did it?
The last 4
No.
years.
Would it help
happened
me
in the
to know
last 4 years.
where you did it? What country or what place?
Not particularly.
Sorry, Miss Meadows, $10 to you, sir. We have $70 for the panel to work with. Mr. Cooper.
Tell me, is this something you invented?
Yes.
You did invent something. Something which was very helpful to other people. Well, that's quick, wasn't it?
I think you startled us all a bit, Mr. Cooper, with your perception. Another $10 to you, sir. The panel has $60 to work on. Mrs. Hobson.
This was something you invented. Was it invented recently?
Within the last...
Fairly. Within the last 4 years.
Within the last 4 years. Is the invention something that's used in people's houses?
Yes.
Has it any movable parts? You know,
Yes.
like sewing machines or vacuum cleaners, yes?
Yes.
It has moving parts. Is it run by electricity?
Yes.
Do you plug it into the wall you're not Betty Furness, are you? Is it something that is used in the kitchen?
Very rarely. Another $10 to you, sir. And now, Bill Cullen.
Is this thing usually used in the same room all the time?
I would say so.
Would you say that it's used in the bedroom?
Not necessarily.
Rarely.
Not regularly. In the dining room?
Not regularly, no.
In the living room?
Mostly.
Is it an electronic thing?
Yes.
Does it provide some sort of entertainment, like a radio or television set?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with the television set?
No.
Or radio set?
No.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I'm very sorry. We have time for just one more series of questions. This time it's to Miss Meadows.
Is it utilitarian?
Miss Meadows, I'm terribly sorry, but it now develops that even your time is up. You are addressing at the moment the very famous Dr. Peter Goldmark, the man who invented the long-playing record. First of all, Doctor, to the makers of Arid, thanks very much for playing I've Got a Secret. Our time has just about been exhausted tonight. I want to thank you for running away from your daughter's birthday party, too. Thanks for helping us out. Folks, that's all the time that we have this evening for guests and for secrets. In just a moment, we'll tell you about the famous celebrity who will be third degreed by our panel on next week's show. But first, here's a message of interest to you. That's about it for now. Next week at this time, your regular master of ceremonies, Garry Moore, will be back here in the chair, and the panel will do their best to discover at that time the secret being kept by Wanda Hendricks. There will be other interesting people to challenge our experts with their secrets, too. Until that time, good night to all of you, and good night to our panel, Bill Cullen, Jane Meadows, Melville Cooper, and Laura Hobson. Remember, Garry Moore will be back next week. Till then, this is Steve Allen.
Now it's time to start the betting with Bill Cullen and The Price is Right. Then get your wagers in. Larry Anderson and Trivia Track are racing your way only on Game Show Network.